Something interesting has been circulating across headlines lately, and a lot of people have been asking about it during live chats, sending messages and trying to understand what's fact, what's rumor, and what the Social Security Administration has actually confirmed. The big question revolves around that eye-catching number, $5,251 per month. Many of you have probably seen that number floating around on news posts, blogs, or social media threads, and naturally, the reaction has been a mix of excitement, confusion, and skepticism. The question that keeps coming up is the same one I see every time we go live. Is this real? And is everybody getting it? The simple answer is no, not everyone will receive this amount, but the story behind it is much bigger than just a headline. Today, we're breaking down who qualifies for that $5,251 monthly Social Security benefit in 2026, what it represents, and why only a very small group of people will ever receive it. And yes, it is a real number, not hype, not rumor, not a bonus. It is tied to official Social Security updates for 2026. Before we jump deeper, welcome to Truth Lens, the channel where we break down the most talked about Social Security changes, benefit updates, and the real stories behind government decisions that affect seniors across America. Every day I hear from people who are barely getting by on $900 per month, $1,200 per month, sometimes even less. People who have worked decades, raised families, paid into the system faithfully, and now find themselves struggling to afford rent, medication, food, or utilities. So whenever a headline pops up flashing a number like $5,251, it naturally stops people in their tracks. The contrast between what many seniors actually receive and what the absolute highest earners get is massive. And today's breakdown makes that divide clearer than ever. Now let's talk about this $5,251 figure and where it comes from. Back in late October, the Social Security Administration released its full list of updated figures for the 2026 benefit year, new earnings thresholds, updated maximum taxable amounts, and of course, the confirmed 2.8% cost of living adjustment, which every beneficiary will receive across the board. This annual update happens every year, but what grabbed everyone's attention this time was the 2026 maximum benefit, which rose to that $5,251 mark. That amount represents the absolute highest monthly Social Security retirement check that a person can receive at full retirement age in 2026 after the 2.8% COLA is applied. But here's the key. Very few Americans qualify for the maximum benefit, and the gap between the minimum and the maximum is so wide that many seniors can barely believe these numbers come from the same program. In fact, for 2026, the minimum Social Security benefit for someone who meets eligibility rules comes out to roughly $52 per month. So on one end, you have someone receiving just over $50, and on the other end, you have somebody receiving more than $5,000. The spread is enormous, and it highlights something many seniors have been talking about for years, the growing divide between those who receive a survivable benefit and those who receive one that looks more like a full income. Let's break down who actually qualifies for the $5,251 amount. Social Security calculates retirement benefits using what's called AMA, your average indexed monthly earnings. To get that, they take your 35 highest earning years, adjust them for inflation, and then run them through a set formula. For someone to end up with the maximum payment in 2026, that person must have earned the maximum taxable income threshold every single year for 35 straight years. That means they had to earn extremely high wages, well into six-figure territory, year after year with no gaps, no low earning years, and no dips below the taxable cap. Out of tens of millions of beneficiaries nationwide, only a tiny fraction accomplished that. To put it in perspective, the maximum benefit for 2025 was slightly lower, around $5,108 per month, with the 2.8% COLA increase applied for 2026. The top earners will see their benefit climb to $5,251, a gain of about $143 per month. For someone already receiving over $5,000 monthly, that extra $143 is simply added to the deposit automatically. But for millions of seniors living on fixed incomes, many of whom tell me they would struggle to find an extra $20 some months, hearing that high income beneficiaries are receiving an additional $143 on top of already large checks can feel like a reminder of how uneven the system can be. During every live Q&A, I hear from seniors who are battling the rising cost of groceries, rent increases that happen year after year, prescription expenses that never seem to go down, and utility bills that spike with the seasons. Many of you tell me you're living on $800, $1,000, maybe $1,300 per month, not anywhere near $5,000. And when you hear that someone at the top receives more in a single month than you receive in half a year, it brings up a lot of frustration, and rightfully so. It's the same system, but not the same experience. This $5,251 benefit serves as another reminder of how wide that gap has grown. And this is exactly why so many proposals in recent years, some from lawmakers, some from advocacy groups, have floated the idea of eliminating or reducing COLA increases for the highest income beneficiaries. Because when high earners receive hundreds of dollars more per month at the same time, many seniors are telling me they're choosing between medication and groceries. It reignites that debate. Whether or not those proposals ever become law is a different topic entirely, but the discussions keep resurfacing, especially as the trust fund inches closer toward projected shortfalls. Now, a lot of people have been asking whether the $5,251 figure is tied to a bonus program or some kind of special one-time payment. The answer is no. This amount isn't a bonus, not an increase beyond the COLA, not a temporary program, and not something additional. It is simply the maximum monthly benefit someone can receive after they've maxed out 35 years of earnings and the 2026 COLA has been applied. It's automatic for the people who qualify. But again, that group is extremely small. That's why whenever these headlines pop up, the reaction among seniors on fixed incomes tends to be mixed. Many of you reach out because you want clarity. You want the real story, not a sensational headline. And here in this community, we talk openly about the reality millions of seniors face, especially those on Social Security who are living below or near the poverty line. This includes older Americans who spent their lives working low-wage jobs, raising families, taking care of aging parents, or sacrificing work years to manage responsibilities at home. For many of you, hearing about maximum payments feels a bit like reading about a different world, but transparency matters. And even though only a small number of people will ever receive that $5,251 monthly benefit, everyone deserves to understand how the system works, how these amounts are calculated, and why the differences are so dramatic. The Social Security Administration updates these figures every year, and the announcement for 2026 simply reflects the COLA adjustment combined with decades of earnings history for the highest earners. Every time we go live and talk about Social Security, I hear from seniors who are holding their breath each month, waiting for the deposit to hit, because the check determines whether the lights stay on, whether prescriptions get picked up, or whether groceries last the week. And these voices matter. Seniors across America, including many living alone or on very limited incomes, deserve to be seen, heard, and acknowledged for the challenges they face every single day. This conversation around benefit amounts isn't just about numbers. It's about lives, struggles, dignity, and survival. It's about seniors trying to stretch every dollar while the cost of living keeps rising around them. So if you've been wondering what the $5,251 payment truly represents, that's the full picture. It's real, but it's not universal. It applies to a very small group whose lifetime earnings place them at the very top of the Social Security scale. It is not a new program, not a bonus, not something everyone can apply for. It's simply the maximum benefit for 2026 after the COLA is added. And as always, here at Truth and Lens, we'll keep unraveling these headlines, breaking down the real information and giving you the full story behind what affects your benefits and your financial stability. Seniors across America deserve clarity, and you deserve to know exactly what's going on, especially in a system where every dollar matters and every update can make a difference.